shadows, no humanity. Mocking in the moment like a game they play, forgetting that life has been torn away. We need respect, we need civility, standing tall for the soul of our liberty. Don't trade love for rage, don't let darkness win. The fire burns brighter when the light's within. Shouting, civil wars at hand, fire in the neighbors trying to make a stand. But vengeance ain't the answer, it only cuts us more. We're losing what we're fighting for, that's for sure. We need respect, we need civility, standing tall for the soul of our liberty. Don't trade love for rage, don't let darkness win. The fire burns brighter when the light's within. Light a candle, let the night grow still. Hold to the higher ground, find the will, respect, civility. That's the fight.
Hello, everybody. You know, the last 72 hours, and maybe it's been longer than that, but it's really come to light in the last 72 hours there that I've seen the best of humanity and I have seen the worst of humanity. You know, I've I've had people come out of the woodwork there and say, like, what happened to Charlie was not right. No matter how much they disagree with them, I've seen people call and go, well, if you have to start it with, well, I didn't agree with them, then you just calculating or whatever. You know what? I think that shows more respect that when they say that they don't agree with the guy at all, but he didn't deserve this. Really, nobody's deserved what we've had this week. This is something that's literally where our nation's gotten torn right down the center. But we have people from both sides of the aisle stepping up. But then we got jackasses on both sides of the aisle tearing us apart. One side sitting there laughing and mocking that man lost his life and was right in front of his kids and his wife. That's the word. Even though the man lost his wife, it even quantifies it more that not only is it in front of thousands of people who come to see him live on fucking TV, fucking streamed to be looked at over and over and over again. And people are just watching it for the joy they enjoyed in it. They're mocking it. They're making cartoons and fucking merchandise, monetizing their money off the man, with pictures of him getting shot right in the neck. But it's not enough. They're mocking him. They're calling for other people to be murdered in the exact same way. But yet they claim to be the taller and simple ones. They're doing it for democracy. They're doing it to save our democracy. But then we got the other side going, the final straw that they want vengeance. I don't want to call out. You know what? I was debating whether or not to call this YouTuber. I'm not even going to give him the credence. This just pisses me off. He's a guy I've listened to for years. I respected his opinions. But right now, all he's doing is, I'm a 2A advocate. Showing off your gun, telling people to come at you. We need a long fight. Telling the government to stay out, to step aside, pretty much giving us immunity. They're then to say we need some civil war there. He's calling for civil war. No, that's not what we need. Well, what we need is to have the justice play out there. There, I I'm not against the death penalty, but we gotta make sure it gets right there. But you're you're not making the situation any better. You're not helping us, you know, by calling for us to call a war, you know. But this is both sides. Like, what do we need to do as a fucking country? Both sides have spewed rhetoric. The last decade, both sides have spewed the rhetoric, and the one of the few men who would go to a campus, ask a question, or you can even ask him a question. You get debated out, slaughtered, slaughtered. But then people go, well, he's a fascist, he's xenophobic, he's a racist, you know, he enjoyed it. Then, but I guarantee you, every single one of these people who said it either are fucking lying or they or they lying. They're either purposely clipping stuff out of context to get their side, or they only listen to one line, one fucking line. And I've seen that from people that I've talked to, and all that. They only quote one line. Well, how about you quote the entire fucking context, what he said? Let the person's words speak out. If it's really so important to what the person said, how about you let the entire statement out? But no, because if you had context, then you'd be like, then people won't agree. I want to say welcome Nemesis Eden, welcome Phantom Boomer. Charlie Kirk encouraged people to do their own research. Debate him, argue with him. I try to change my mind. He's changed. The reason this happened to him because he's affected. We are hearing this. They say when an animal's dying, it fights harder. When it's cornered, it fights harder. And maybe this was the desperate gasp of the Democratic Party. They've been cornered. They're losing supporters, and this is their final grasp. Well, you made a martyr. It's bad enough we go through the same arguments every single time, and people are right to point out especially when we have school shootings. There's school shootings, thoughts and prayers, nothing happens. Rinse, cycle, repeat. But nobody's talking about the solution. You guys all they want is we need gun control. We need stricter gun laws. I guarantee you, no one ever wanted to try to purchase a gun. And I mean, that's gun. But like I said the other time, gun control is not the answer. More red flag laws. Yeah, you might think the red flags laws will help, but then say you had a gun. All I have to do is say he's losing his mind, or he did this. You just can make up this excuse, call in, and now they lose their guns for 21 days, and they got to spend $1,000 to get them back just over disagreement. That's happened. People's lost their lives over red flag laws. 97 or was it 93% of these shootings, that both sides are appalled by, but nobody's listening. They all call us a bunch of kid killers, because we're 2A advocates. But the thing is, we try to provide solutions, but we keep getting bogged down in a gun control debate. The obvious solution is harden these gun free zones. You know, banks have security with an armed guard. There, I've seen gas stations have security in these in these crappy neighborhoods. Why don't we have armed guards at our schools? I know after a lot of the stuff went down at our school, they locked a lot of the doors. We were allowed to go out this one door for recess and come back in. The only time it was unlocked was during recess. The only other door you could actually go in was there's only one door. We had a bunch of other doors for emergency exits and that. We could go out them. But once school started, one door was all that was open. So why don't we have armed security? There are solutions that the gun technology is out there. You know, and the people that commit these heinous acts are already violating dozens of fucking laws. So what's one more misdemeanor or gross misdemeanor they gonna do? That's not gonna deter them. Look at our inner cities. Our inner cities look like fucking war zones. I seen people they're appalled that the National Guard got sent in to control DC. And people are shocked. Oh, DC went 12 days without a murder. Bitch, my county here, it's picked up in the last couple years. We used to say we had one murder every 10 years. No, and it's usually someone we know or a relative or a friend of someone we know. It's picked up a little bit in the last few years. We had one in, I believe, 96. His boyfriend killed his girlfriend, took the kid down to South Carolina there. Then there's one I'd like to say in the middle of the 2000s there. I could be wrong in that. Oh, wait, no, it's 2010 was our next one, with two brothers got into an argument over the girl. But then we had one. The one was exactly murder, but the woman provided the drugs with the person overdose, so they classified. And then 2015? Someone hit his girlfriend over the head with the golf club there, and that technically wasn't even my county. That was just a county south. But people are very, but our cities look like fucking war zones. Chicago, they're saying 58 people were shot in there. I was like, when people are appalled, they were calling in the National Guard to straighten out DC, but then they're trying to say they're just trying to normalize going to that they want to send National Guard in all our cities. But why has it gotten to the point where crime is normal, where stores cannot survive because of the rampant theft? And they got places like San Francisco, and it's less than $1,000. We're not going to even respond. You know what? $900. One person steals $900, may not break that store. But when you have 100 people coming in stealing $900 worth of stuff, that'll break a store. Then they're complaining that they're getting food deserts. Why is it people are not shocked when they hear 60 people are shot on a fucking weekend? You know, I bet you if you look, there's some sick bastards that probably even put a pool on on the markets there of how many people are going to get shot in like Chicago and all that. That why have we normalized that? But back to my point, people are already getting our breaking points. We're already at our throats. I don't know how many times I got called by a maggot, but I never insult. I kept arguing with the person there, and I've never insulted them back, even though I argue with them on every single thing. I could say all kinds of things. I only make an exception for one person. That's, but I'm not even gonna say his name. But I feel if you have to result to call people names, you've lost the argument. That just shows that you don't have an argument in your low IQ. I think that just insulting someone's a sign of low IQ. Yeah. And hey, sci-fi sit in and Boomer says they don't want actual solutions. Yeah, yeah, they shot the actual solution. Both sides are trying to point at each other, and they're nitpicking. I don't know how many times I've seen people nitpick your videos, like they're like, for example, I don't know how many times I've seen it. Well, watch these two guys behind Charlie Kirk very carefully. Watch them very carefully. One guy went like this, and that guy sits forward and he does this, And they're trying to say that they're signaling the sniper. Could be, but I know the guy in the black shirt was his security there. For all we know, he could have been signaling to another security person that was on the roof and this and that, saying like this is fine, or we may spot something. Keep an eye out over here. Without having to verbally like talking to Mike or anything, or it's just quick hands. This could meant, hey, we got a guy. The ear meant maybe the side to go be looking at something. I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to be this one that speculates here, and we're seeing so many grainy videos that people can make whatever assumptions they want out of them. Out of, but I just don't know what to do. I've seen so many heart-filled videos of people saying, "I'm not a politics channel, but I must say this." All these people are also saying, and I do not, they don't condone this violence, and they're appalled by it just as I am. They're telling them to get the fuck off their channel if they're laughing and they think it's okay for someone to shot and killed. I'm not gonna say it. It shouldn't need to be said, but I just want to know why you feel if you are one of those. I don't think I have many followers that would do that. Every single person I've talked to that I know watches my channel were just as appalled as I am. But I would want to know, why do you think it's so funny? You know, and don't give me the buzz terms that he's a fascist, he's a xenophobe, he's a transphobe, he's racist. Or if you do use those buzz terms, tell me exactly what he said and give me more than one line from the line from from a debate there. I want the entire context of the clip because I've seen it so many times that shit's so clipped out of context and both sides fucking do it. Where they'll take it's usually just one or two lines of what they said instead of the whole thing. Yeah, and you know why how I know this? Because I fucking do it to PvP. I've done that to PvP and Mike all the time. I go to him into saying something, not clip, but ours are just for shits and giggles. But this is having serious ramifications for people who do not do their own research. That we're in a soundbite society, and the worst part is they did a poll, and a lot of these people think assassinations are great, just as long as it's not my side. My side's all fine and dandy. That side, they need to be gone. No, it's mostly there's mostly pulled at one side that was saying all that. We all know what side that was. And hey Raquel, but this has just been a roller coaster week for my emotions. And this is coming from a guy who's been told he's an emotionless bastard. So I don't hardly ever show my emotions. I can hide it. I laugh with the best, but you know I've never been so pissed off, been so upset, and keep more things are getting to me than ever before. You know, maybe this is hitting me harder because I'm feeling like I gotta protect my family, But the one man, who, you know, where do we go from here? Because there's no going back from this. And greetings, Eric. I don't know who's Eric is, but welcome, Basil. Yes, Raquel, this is exactly what I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. It's the most disgusting week I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah, just we've lost our humanity. Our country is torn apart there, and what is this I solution? I want my voice to be heard and amplified, saying, stop, turn around. But I'm just one drop of a million in a shit pond. There, you know, even watching Erica's speech there, and they took one line from her, that line for running with it, saying how they made her a call there, and she's just spiteful bitch. They called her a spiteful bitch and everything else. Well, I'd be pissed too if someone took my spouse's life there, and they took one line, but they didn't know. They said, because she said, for those who have murdered my my husband there, you have no idea what you have unleashed. But if you listen to the very next line, which none of these people have put it in there, she is going to make sure that his work with Turning Point USA continues. She is going to pick up the torch and continue it. But getting to then, she was standing strong as a powerful speech. Basil says, greetings. Welcome, Mikey's wife. And it's been a very long and dark week for America. People will spew trash about the situation being down. Oh, not only that, people are calling for it. They're calling for assassinations of other people. But I was looking, I was debating there. Everybody's comparing the George Floyd to him. They said this guy's a drug addict. When the leftist was dead, they literally burned cities. When we held vigils. No, I guess we say we aren't the same, but you can tell there's a major difference between both sides there. It used to be our differences in marginal tax rates. That's what our difference was. Should we do this or this for our both sides were closer together, but now with so much stuff splitting apart, and the worst part is nobody's listening to each other. But Charlie's work will go on. They didn't silence him; they martyred him. There, and we're gonna see the best of humanity there. But we must be so numerous in numbers there that all these people are spewing the hate there in the darkness and cheering this on will be silenced themselves. We gotta make that abundantly clear there. Turning Point USA just had a little over 1,000 chapters in school camps, colleges, and high schools and all that. I can't remember the exact numbers. Numbers are not important, but the important point is 18,000 new chapters have asked to join or have been created or asked to join Turning Point USA in the last 72 hours there. People have people all over the country have united or are uniting, saying no, we condemn this. Condemn this. There, I seen it where Eminem and I cannot remember the other pundit came together in solidarity there. And Eminem was he's a yeah, he did not like Charlie Kirk at all, but he said this wasn't right. They offered to pay the funeral services. Erica turned it down. Their family, Charlie Kirk's family, turned it down. But I've seen there's a Minnesota football player, even Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure there are others that stepped out and said, "Don't worry about your kids' education. We'll pay for it." You know, all right, I'm gonna catch up on chess because I, I need to sort my thoughts here. Raquel says, "I have no idea to be honest. What's the solution? You're not the only one wondering that." And Turning Point has gained a massive amount of new members and requests for new chapters. They have support in South Korea, Japan, and UK. Oh, don't forget New Zealand and Australia. Yet he has nothing to do with Kirk being. Yet he has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk being killed. Sadly, the fucker who killed him will go through years of prenatal hearings of bullshit back and forth. Please, no, I trial, and eventually he'll get off on a insane. And no, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to throw the insanity plea deal on him. But he did have something to do with Kirk. Apparently, from the research I've heard, and I cannot confirm this, there's so much horseshit going around that the man who did this had an argument with Kirk a few years ago, and then Charlie Kirk humiliated him with facts. Facts there, and that, and there's all kinds of stuff. And you guys can do the research there. That about then they say there's a boyfriend, this and that. Okay. Welcome, Jim's Landscape. Welcome. Respect plus for Eminem. Yes. And hello, brother Gorilla. Wish I had a solution. I don't have any suggestions, bro. I don't. Yeah. Sadly, he turned himself in on, or his dad did, and took away the opportunity of someone to take care of the problem. No, does Basil? I think that's the wrong approach. I want to go to trial. I want to hear why he did it. If we don't hear the voices of the people who didn't, get the reasons why. How can we fix it? We just can't chalk it up to be a lunatic, take there, and having someone else throw their life away. They're just so that we don't have to go through the trial and all that. That's just the exact same process, and it'll just lead to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I've been hearing a lot of stuff. Some people say we are living in the end times. Others are saying this will be civil war. I really hope not. Honestly, I don't know what to think at this point. You know what we should think? This is just coming from a dumb gorilla. We must be a Charlie Kirk. His voice may have been silenced or quieted, but our voices aren't. We all must be like Charlie Kirk. We gotta stand up, debate him. We gotta debate him. Not use violence and that. Debate him. They rise up and use our voices. His watch may have ended, but it's time for our youth to stand up and go. You know, this is our time. We'll be Charlie Kirk. There's a lot of people behind this. This guy is gay with a trans girlfriend, heavily involved in trans. Yeah, this all happened within a couple of years of being in college. I'm not saying it wasn't organized, but you know that to say the most dangerous person is the lone wolf. Hope you're doing. I haven't had time to hang out. It's just been a rough week. We're all quietly suffering, but we're strong, and there will come a final solution, whatever that may be. I'm worried if his wife takes up the cause. I'm going to open this up because I kind of want to have a conversation. Problem, Nemesis, she's already been deemed a target. There, people are already calling to take out the entire family, even the kids, the babies, the 3 and 1 year olds. It's fucking sick. You know, I it's fucking sick. And there is the link if it because I know a couple of you guys might have a few things you want to say, and we'll make sure our voices are heard. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, no,
Go ahead.
Hey, Nemesis, welcome.
Uh,
Welcome, beautiful beings, Gorilla and Nemesis of Eden.
yeah. Yeah, it's just been one of those roller coasters there, and I'm just sick of all the hateful rhetoric. You know, we were righteously pissed off, but
Well, and like therein lies the issue too, right? Because it's just like
Yeah.
I agree with you that we should be using our words. Like I think back to today, and to me, I'm getting angry and angrier as just a person. So I couldn't imagine how you guys are doing. But
yeah.
At what point
And I'm
does
not even one that
talking become ineffective?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I wasn't even one that was a follower having to watch every single videos of his. I've just seen his videos in passing, but I knew the effect his debates have had. I've seen the people who knew him, the way they talked about him, especially Tim Pool, or he didn't even hardly knew Tim Pool, but he wanted Tim Pool at CTPU. He goes, well, we got a weekly show. I don't know if we can do it. We got a weekly show. Don't worry, or I'll take care of it. You can use my studio.
Sure.
You know, and he even built him a studio. He gave so much, you know. So a lot of people said if they texted Charlie Kirk or called him or texted him, he texts you right back, you know, if they ever needed anything.
Right. Yeah, he was that giving. And I do want to appreciate when I did my earlier webcam stream. I wanted to appreciate Gorilla verifying for me that he originally did come from Chicago, Illinois, and then moved to Arizona with his with Eric. Well, I believe when he moved, wasn't Erica pregnant then with the kids, and then they eventually had the kids.
I don't know. As I know, he was from Chicago. They moved and they moved to Arizona.
Yeah, moved to Arizona. Yeah. Well, one thing I do know about, and I think I should mention this. One thing I did know was when they moved to Arizona, and this was just before the election with Trump and with Kamala Harris. Kirk knew, I know he knew, two of the people that were involved in the governor race for Arizona. Now we know there is a Democratic woman right now. I wish I could remember her name, but I haven't been in Arizona in 8 years, so it's really not really that relevant to me. However, the thing is, I did know that the other person who was running for governor was Carrie Lake. And Carrie Lake was getting all sorts of flack from like both sides, left, right, and everything, because she was such a Trump supporter. I mean, a very pro-Trump supporter. And Charlie Kirk stood to her and admired her for her perseverance, everything she was going into through the election. And how many of the left were berated her right and left. And unfortunately, we had a falling out. But I did know Carrie Lake for a brief time when she used to be a news anchor for the Fox news channel there, Channel 10 in Phoenix. And she used to know John Hook, who is a very prominent anchor man. I don't know if he's still there. And then of course Troy Hayden, who used to be a sports guy, used to be a weather guy. Anyway, Carrie Lake and I did meet one time, and it was just in a bar, just kind of a casual thing. And I told her, I said, I really like your buddy John Hook. And John Hook said, responded to me and said, yeah, Carrie Lake is one of my best friends. And then she and I, we did all those shows together, all those news shows and everything. And I knew that Carrie wanted to do something more. So that was when I found out that Carrie Lake was going to try to get a seat, eventually in the House, the House of Representatives. And then later on, she wanted to try to become Trump's, sidekick. But of course, we know it's J.D. Vance. So, but the thing about Kirk is that Kirk was so generous, and Carrie Lake considered Kirk, when he moved to Arizona, he considered one of her best friends. I only found this out later on. So I was like, great, but I am so sad right now for Erica Kirk and for the kids. They're never going to know their dad. They'll grow up just not knowing the whole story, because they won't be told probably until they get old enough, either, while they're in the middle of high school or when they're ready to graduate and high school and go to, college, hopefully go to college. That's the saddest part. That's what breaks my heart every time, is realizing that this man did not need to be unalive. Yeah. He did not need to be. He was a good person. And I don't say that about very many Republicans now, but I realize that Kirk was a good person. And that's not the former Democrat in me talking. It's just being a human being who sees another human being needlessly killed for no other reason than to get back at the guy who's running the country, to get back at him. Because that is what
it wasn't to get back at the person running the country. It was more that they're trying to silence our voice. They don't see us as humans.
No.
And that they say that the first sign of one of the first things you do when you want to genocide a group of people is to dehumanize them.
Well, that's what you do. I think Larry said it best. Is my brother said, you want to take out the opposition. You want to take the people that want to stand up and have their voice be heard. And that's what Nemesis made a good point about too, is that that is what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to silence your voice forever. They do not want to hear from you at all. They want things to go on as usual. That like business as usual. And that's how I think when Kirk got killed, and later on you hear all these people say, oh, yay, and all this other crap, and stuff. What is that? Is that just business as usual? You don't just give a shit, excuse my language, but you don't give a what, and somebody gets killed for no reason. I mean, what was your incentive? And this made me even more angry. And I got to say this. This kid, dad, is the freaking police chief of the whole district. What the hell? Where were you, Dad? Why didn't you say a damn thing to your son? Your son was crying out to you, according to his manifesto.
The family tried, but they just got into arguments, and that falls back to what I was saying earlier. Nobody listens to each other. Hey, hey, Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne. Welcome.
It is Suzanne.
But the problem is, excuse the pun, but we're at a turning point in this country.
Well, this is definitely a transition. If you want to call it that too, Gorilla, it makes a good point. It is.
I want the pun. Yeah, I want the pun intended there. There's no going back. There's no going back. Just like they couldn't go back when Martin Luther King was assassinated. There's no going back after 9/11. There's no going back at.
Well, I just read today, this might be a little maybe attached to this or not, but today I just read that there was a couple of major immigration protests downtown Toronto, and multiple arrests, and many people were arrested because of this. And we have a similar and I just found this out from Suzanne, so thank you, babe. The ICE, as you know, in America, is doing these things, is doing these arrests and deportations in Chicago and some other cities. Up here in Canada, it is called, the equivalent is the CIS, which is Canadian Immigration Services. And today, the attacks that went on with the protesters and everything that was going on there, these were two huge groups debating and protesting, I guess freely, about immigration here in Canada and the people that are planning to be deported from Canada. And the next thing you know, there's all these arrests and everything else that happened. And that's what I found out. So, and I found out from reliable sources, not like what PvP says, like CNN or CBN or CBC or anything like that. No,
Yeah.
I checked it on another source, and it was true. So
just like going through chat. So this is hello gorilla, and yes, I did. I got the picture there, Boomer. I just opened it up now.
Yeah.
And welcome, Pop Culture Republic.
Hey, Pop Culture Republic. Good to see you.
How are we going to rectify it? When one side just keeps calling others without even listening to them, bunch of fascists, bunch of xenophobes, transphobes, without actually listening to anything we say. But then we turn around and we call them. I know we call them commies and this and that. I personally don't tend to. I tried lately when I try to use those terms. I mean, yes, I've seen a lot of communist stuff trying to creep up, but there's a lot of people I sit there and I know that are on the other side of the aisle as I am. I try, but we can still have conversations and all that. And there's other people we don't talk politics. We still get along.
We still do.
But I don't know.
I wanted to ask a question actually of Nemesis first, Gorilla, and then I'll ask you.
Can I finish my thought, please?
For both of you.
But
yeah, sure. Sorry.
Somehow, I don't know how we can rectify each other. Where does it stop? We can keep saying, "Oh, now maybe things will cool back down." Maybe this, but it's just one more thing after another, and and all these people are telling these people to go fuck themselves and fuck you and all that. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, you may mock the man's death, but I'm not gonna tell you to fuck off. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm disappointed and I pity you for being that kind of human.
If you're an evil human, what we do is we pray for your soul. If you're purely evil, all we can do is pray for your soul and hope that if you're lost, as we know you are, that you can find the Lord. That's the religious side of that. Yeah. The other part of it is that if you do choose to remain evil, whatever comes to you is going to come. That is what is called karma.
Yeah.
So if you want to believe that karma and God are the same, which I do, yes, that's what's going to happen.
And Irina Zarkuja's murder to Carl's judge.
Yeah,
police were for 60 days to be evaluated as. Are you fucking kidding me? Shit, they didn't fucking learn after the first 14 fucking violent convictions that they let this fucking piece of shit out again.
Yep.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, he's not. Phantom Boom is right. It's a question. I had just read about it too. It's a question of the judge is questioning Brown's sanity. Is he insane? Does he belong in a mental ward of a hospital or some other thing? Or does he belong in prison? And you know what? Unfortunately, the justice system gives you the right to question the sanity or the mindset of the person that did this.
Yeah.
And see, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
With Tyler Robinson at all.
Yeah.
The man had true purpose. So
it's shit like this that's happening all over the country.
All over.
There.
Yes.
Where we keep hearing, they got let out. no bail, no bail, no bail. You got let out.
This-
They'll come back on their own cards where they don't get charged, or
well,
you,
yeah.
you know,
Well, you know what
or
really
we get the FBI going, oh, we're aware of them. Well,
Yeah.
if you're aware of them, where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
That
Well, there was. Yeah.
and that's why we are pissed off. This wasn't just
I'm
one.
pissed off. Something.
Yeah, this wasn't just one event. This was a common accumulation of events over the last 10 years, and just getting worse and worse every
Worse and
fucking
worse.
year. And I'm sorry for the language, people, but
Yeah. Well, we're
my emotions are
justified.
running high.
Well, I'm just saying we're justified, Gorilla and Nemesis. We are, and anybody in the chat that wants to drop an F-bomb occasionally, we don't give a shit. You can say all you want. Definitely doesn't bother us. What really bothers us is the fact that the justice system is broken. It is completely shattered. Like I said, I'll give you a great example. I think I talked about this a couple of nights ago. This is a true story. 70-year-old man of a Hindu family went to jail. They paid his bail, $25,000. The man goes into a van, crashes purposefully into a daycare center in downtown Richmond Hill, Ontario, killing one child, putting 6 others in critical condition. I don't know if the other 6 have died yet or not. I hope not. But in the meantime, and then this guy, they arrest him, right? Take him back, and they say, "Oh my God, this was a guy we just let out on bail for $25,000."
Yeah, but what was the original charge?
The original charge that he had was endangerment of children, and he also was a reckless driver. So he was in jail for that.
Okay, and
reckless causing bodily harm. That's what Suzanne just said. Yeah.
Okay, so again, but yeah, he still had the 25.
But then he was still paid bail to get out, and then of course this guy obviously had intent. He had motive. He was driving a freaking van, drove a freaking van into a daycare center where his granddaughter, by the way, was attending.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say welcome to I want to say welcome to Kevin Turkey there.
Hey, Kevin Theme Park, welcome, sir.
Yeah, but
hello.
Yeah, but the problem is it's the cashless bail. There's one guy who sat there. He kept robbing people. They arrested him. And then he'd get out and he'd rob someone else, or he'd attack someone. They'd arrest him. He did like 40 crimes before he even went to trial for the first one. And they asked him, why do you keep doing it? Because they keep letting me out.
Then what you do is put him in jail and put a bullet in his head if he tries to get out again.
All right, I wasn't trying to. No, I'm
sorry. I'm not trying to. I'm sorry.
That one.
I get very upset.
But the problem is the cashless bail. We should have. I'd fall forward bringing back the 3. You got 3 strikes and you're out rule.
Well, yeah, that's what I feel too. If you get the 3rd strike, you're done. You're never going to go and see the light of day again. You're going to stay in jail, or you're going to be executed in the death penalty way that the whatever state you're in asks for.
Yeah, and Boomer here says it's not a justice system; it's a legal system. Not the same thing. It's a two-party system there.
Yes. But the party, we're all well aware, the justice system itself of that system is broken, my friend. Boomer said that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Boomer, the justice system of that is broken. Now the legal system of that, I can't really say what I think it should be, but what I do know it is that the fact that if you want to compare it to somebody who's on life support and is ready to expire, that is where the legal system is at. So one thing is broken completely and dead to the world, and the other part of that system is on its last legs. So I don't know what else to say to you about that, really. And it's frustrating. It is to all of us because, it's like Gorilla said, if you get a 3rd strike, you do not even deserve to be out among people ever again. You stay where you are, and you die in prison if that's what happens to you eventually. But you blew it after 3 times. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
'Cause-
Nemesis, what do you? I've been talking too much. Nemesis, what do you have to say about this? What's
Yeah,
like
what the
your
hell,
main-
man? Jesus. No, it's like what do you want my opinion on? We've covered a lot of things so far.
Yeah.
Ah.
But I mean, what do you feel about? Well, I just told you what I felt about the justice and the legal system. Obviously, two separate entities. But I mean, what do you feel about both yourself?
I mean, I've dealt with the justice and legal system, and it's a joke. I had some native dude attempt to stab me at the C train station,
Wow.
and the cops arrested him and fucking let him go the very same day. And I ran into him the next night, and it's just like, fuck me, here we go again. He didn't do anything that time, but it was just like, yeah. And they're like, no, we'll bring him to court, and like, he's expected to come into court like next year. So, and I'm just like, oh, perfect. So he's just wandering around. I don't know, I think there needs to be changes. Like, once again, it's different for Gorilla than it is here in Canada, but like here in Canada, it's just a joke. Really,
it is a joke. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Pop Culture Republic says, I seem to remember Rush Limbaugh calling it the arena of ideas for discussion and debate. It's all well and good, but the political divide has now become a gulf. Oh, it's a Grand Canyon. It's not just a gulf, Pop Culture. It is a Grand Canyon. There's that's the only other way I can compare it to is exactly what it is. You know, it's a huge hole.
But
you know? Yeah,
I think I'm trying to get my thoughts together here.
yeah.
But I think what we need to do moving forward is step up, make our voices heard.
We definitely, yeah.
Do not call for violence there.
No.
That is what. Let me finish. We cannot call for violence. We cannot initiate violence there because that's exactly what these people want from us.
Yeah.
They know they cannot debate the ideas. They know they don't have sound arguments, but they know the only reaction they're left is for violence. There.
Well,
we need to get our youth more initiated there. You know, the youth are stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
It's proven on our college campuses and on our high schools. The people are standing up. You know, we're not going to let the group of 1,000 people, the group of, I think what they said, 20,000 people have got they put their information. And I don't know how I feel about this. They put all their information publicly available on their things there. They call up their workplaces and go, why do you condone? Or why are you supporting this? You know, I don't know how I feel about that, you know.
Right.
Because I am a true free speech absolutist here. What do I mean by that? Because free speech, you gotta listen to, even though these people are saying vile things, they do have the right to say it, but they're not free from the consequences. Like, if someone wants to go up and call a person the N-word, you know, I think they have every right to do it. But I think, with that being said, that means that the other person does have the right to whoop your ass for doing that.
Well, you know that's a good point you make.
Can I finish? So all these people that are calling people's workplaces and getting them fired, you know, the person that had the free speech to say such important things, you know, but the employers of these people shouldn't because the other person using their free speech to say important things shouldn't have to suffer from their employees saying such important things, you know. So, you know, one way I feel, yes, the person has the right to say, you know, but you're not free from the consequences. So your employer has all the right to fire you if it's going to hurt their business, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but also you're saying such important things, and your boss finds out and doesn't want to do business with you anymore. Then I don't want to hear you crying either. I don't care if it's one tweet or 1,000 tweets. You know, because maybe your one tweet could have triggered someone to do an reprehensible action there, like we've been seeing in this country.
Right.
There,
Yeah, I think the one thing that's vital to it, I think three things that are vitally important to know is that, and this is the most thing that really irritates both of us, the family ethic is gone. There's barely any families anymore who get together, commiserate about their day, things like that, that stay together. That just does not happen. I also think that discipline needs to return to kids. I truly do. It's got to be firm. It's got to be fair, but you've got to have the discipline. It's got to be there. If you teach them that in a fair, like I said, in a fair and a firm way, they'll do fine. I learned the hard way from my parents about discipline, and my brother did, my sisters did. We all learned, but we eventually knew that we would be able to have good lives and lead good lives and become parents to our own kids, and be able to get through life just fine, not a problem. But the one thing I will emphasize beyond all doubt, we need to bring prayer back to schools. It absolutely needs to be there. Now, whether that's God, whether that's Buddha, whether that's Muhammad, if it's a Middle Eastern school, whatever. But you need to bring back the power of prayer. Put prayer back in schools, and I guarantee the tide will change. Absolutely change for the better.
but
I truly believe that.
But I just want to leave on one thing here. I'm gonna wrap this up. I want to leave on one thing.
Okay.
Of all
Go
the
ahead.
we've seen, like I said, we've seen abhorrent things, and we've seen the best of society here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's come to a ultimate conclusion here, and all those tiny cracks in the dam, and the dam's ready to burst with this assassination of Charlie Kirk. His watch may have ended. I can still use my words. All of us can still use our voices, but it's time for you to pick up the watch and carry on the work that he did. Yes. Don't let a good man's voice be silenced. Don't let us intimidate us. Don't let this country fall. We must reunite, because if we're divided there, then we're all going to be speaking Russian under a Chinese flag.
Yeah.
There.
I don't think
that's exactly, and pick a country you don't like, whether it's Russia, North Korea, Iran, China, there's plenty of other shitholes. So, now this is exactly what they're yearning for us to do, to divide. Because if America gets swooped up, divided, falls in a civil war, that just makes us all the weaker and all the more prime for takeover.
Right.
So,
I would, if I may, Gorilla, I want to say one quick thing.
Yeah.
If you do want to learn about ways that you can peacefully, non-violently be able to protest and for free, that you don't have to get a permit, you don't have to do anything of that nature, read the works of Gandhi, read the works of Mother Teresa, read the works of Charlie Kirk that he printed out, things that people of that nature that believe in peace and nonviolence but peaceful protest, and being able to get your word out there and your actions at the same time to initiate a change, a revolution, if you will, a coup. That is what needs to happen in both of our countries. In both countries. Absolutely. If we can create that and be able to do it in a legal way, but as I said, very peaceful, nonviolent, but if we can get the word out there and we get enough, like we say, if we can encourage those colleges, those high schools, the kids that are in arms and uproar and everything, and we can attend to those needs and we can help them, it's going to become a better world. I do see that. I do see that.
No, I lost my thought because it's like, Mikey, I wasn't no thought and I was lost. You know,
I would say, Gorilla, don't despair, because
I'm
you
not
have a
despair.
powerful channel.
I'm expressing my emotions right now. This is actually
Sure.
calming me down. But we
Good.
must unite because divided we will fall. You
Yes.
know,
There's no doubt of that.
Yeah, because who's going to come to our aid? Every country that are allies are already having their own problems. Who's going to come to our aid? You know, this ain't 9/12/2001.
Right.
There, I never thought there that
No,
we were so united, but then 20 years later, everything
Everything's
is
gone to
completely
hell.
falling apart. And that might
We're
have
in
been when
hell.
the dam started. That might have been when the first crack appeared. Could have been
Yes.
earlier. Could have been later.
Sure.
But this dam's ready to burst.
Yeah.
We need some cement to hold it together. We need to start patching.
Yeah. True. It only takes one person, right, Gorilla? You know this. With any revolution, with any cause, with any coup, it takes one person to start.
Yeah.
And then from there on,
Yeah.
you accumulate your followers, your disciples. Yes, the best course of action is to get right with God, to seek Jesus, and to pray for people's hearts, in my honest opinion. Amen to that, brother,
Yeah.
Pop Culture Republic.
Amen.
Absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with it.
I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm not gonna do my normal promotions. I just wanted to get this off my chest because it's been eating Gabby for the last few days.
Gorilla,
there.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, Gorilla, we love you for who you are. You're a real person with real beliefs and real concerns, and they're all justified.
Yeah. Well,
that's why
we're
we
all
love
real
you.
people.
I mean, everything you say is justified.
And everybody who's come tonight and express their opinions like I have here, like Pop Culture Creator, Kevin Theme Park, Boomer, there, Suzanne, Raquel, Nemesis of Eden, Bazil, you Mikey. This is the time, and Jim.
And Nemesis of Eden. And our brother.
I already said Nemesis.
Oh, you did? Okay.
A lot of us, we have all, the thing is, I know it's every single person who showed up tonight so far, has said that we may all have different beliefs. I don't know the political beliefs of half the people in the chat here, but we're appalled about what's all going on in America. That's the kind of unity that we need. So thank you, everybody, for coming there. Just check out everybody's channels that have been mentioned there.
Yeah.
You guys have a good night. And remember that we are the Silverbacks. We must move forward. We all are Charlie Kirk.
We've been stopping, beating through the night, rising like gorillas, ready for the fight. Sending out a thank you, every shout and cheer. Your love.